this thing up. Let's see. Good enough? Maybe. Anyway, been meaning to go live for a while, so sorry about that, life. But yeah, Bongo, Ernie Ball Music Man, Bongo 6HH. So that's HH for these pickups, 2 humbuckers, hence HH. I absolutely love it. The neck is kind of like a fucking highway, basically. It's pretty wide. I do like it. It's the first time I have a 6 of my own. I've played them plenty of times, but never enough to actually dive into it and see all the possibilities, like firsthand, as I'm choking over here. Anyway, yeah, I love it so far. It's been a couple weeks playing it every day. The difference between this one and the Dream Theater one, John Myung, I always butcher this guy's name. If you could comment what he's called, like actually, like phonetically spell that out, I'd greatly appreciate it. I've looked at interviews and it's all over the fucking board. But his signature series, the main, which is not this one, the reason I didn't get his signature is it's the opposite of this neck. It takes 6 strings and it puts it on a 5-string neck, which I have over there, the Stingray 5 neck, but with 6 strings on it. So the spacing is super tight. I'm sure it's great for shredding and playing really quickly and stuff like that. Pros and cons. Dude's a way better bass player than me, so I can't shit on what he's playing. But for myself, especially coming from the P-bass world, that was like what I really started playing on. It's a chunkier neck that I'm used to and a fatter one. This thing is just crazy. But I don't have massive hands, and it still works. I feel like that's such a cop-out. I'm trying to look for something to compare what my hand size is. I don't know, car key, meet hand. It's not anything too crazy. Probably even on a smaller end of it. But that doesn't mean you can't play and successfully navigate. Because with this 6-string like this, you're gonna have to do micro shifts and all that stuff. And you're also gonna have to mute. I did a video on it prior to this when I first unboxed this thing. You're gonna float your thumb a lot. It's gotten to the point, again, still really new to this, so I'm still gaining technique like anybody else and figuring it out. But even if it has to do with resting your whole hand, like the ultimate palm mute, where I could play these chords up here. I also went almost 3 minutes without playing a bass. Jesus. But it's live, not 1 minute bass. So, whatever. Sorry about that. But it sounds amazing. It's super articulate. And I can go into the settings too. It's kind of weird because I have it just recording through this mic, through an Ampeg CL Micro, or Micro CL. So it might overload on your phone and shit. But main thing is just, let's see if we can look at this. Yeah, so volume, real straightforward, cut and dry. That's it. The next one, I like this a lot. It's different than the Stingray 5 that I have. The Stingray 5 has a pickup selector to go between. It'll be like these 2 single coils, these 2, both, just the back, just the front, different ways to select it. For this one, it just blends. It's gonna go from bridge on this side. Let's see. Yep, bridge on this side. For that kind of Fugazi, that real punchy mid-range. You could blend it in the center, which will be both pickups. And then you can go down to the neck pickup when you're going, yeah, that way, all the way over. And then that's where you get that puffy, you can't say puffy anymore. I didn't mean it like that, but oddly enough, that hip hop sound, the reggae sound. So if you're like, there we go, that's the setting. So more of that Bob Marley. I know the audio is a little weird because it is an open air recording, which I am working on. But those are the first 2 knobs. So blend and volume, real straightforward. Now this one, they kind of bump up. So you're gonna have low, low mid, high, high mid. Yeah, I usually keep everything in the center when I'm This one's, I rolled off the bass a little bit on it, mainly because I know it distorts cell phones, but then I'll play it in my car or on a computer and it sounds great. But most people, I think, look at this on their cell phone. I don't know, so let me know also, comment-wise of that one, because it has a lot to do with how I would set up the audio for this shit. But that's all it is, 4-band EQ. So you could roll the bass all the way off. Everything's at noon right now. And we're over at the bridge pickup. And then, again, blend. And all the way to the neck. Kind of a P-bass sound with more of that growl to it. So that's basically that part. And then it's a 2 9-volts in the back. I'm gonna end up just repeating this video probably as a review anyway, but I know I wanted to put a live video up. What else about this? Ebony fretboard, which I like. I have it on the Stingray 5 that I have as well. Supposedly it's snappier and all that stuff. I don't know how much of that is a placebo effect, but it feels great. Like under your actual fingers, I could definitely notice the difference between fretboard wood. So like, if it's my Warwick, which is like a rose, not like, it is a rosewood, or the maple on the F bass and all that fun stuff. But it definitely has a good feel to it. Just under your fingers at most. Maybe the placebo is it's a snappier kind of punch to it, but that's probably also the electronics. So there's that to it. I like how the headstock also has the 4 and 2. Typical Ernie Ball Music Man to kind of offset that shit. Usually it's the 5 and 1 or 4 and 1 on the 5-string. And what else? What else? Playing around higher on the 6-string. Again, muting is everything. So like I said, I kind of dead fish my thumb a little bit and just keep playing. And I've been doing a lot of that kind of a hybrid classical guitar pick to it. Pluck. We're just kind of clawing 3. It's really hard to see. This is so much more difficult than private lessons. But I've been going with it that way. And it's really, you can hear it the whole length from here to there. So 3 octaves. It's clean the whole way as I stutter. Let me start that over. So yeah, super clean, not a single dead note on that whole run, absolutely nothing. I didn't touch the higher string on that, but we could do it here. Let's see. As I miss a note, I didn't hit a dead note, I just didn't hit the fucking note. Oops. That's the one thing I've always noticed for being a 4-string player for over 30 years. I got my first 5-string less than a year ago. Not saying to do that, get them earlier. I was just an asshole and thought 4 strings were the only way to go. So I admit it, not embarrassed about it, fuck it, but don't do that. What I notice is when I get up higher, there's not as much real estate to wiggle your finger with. The string comes right off the neck. A lot easier. Which doesn't matter too much, but I'll catch myself when I'm really trying to fly with stuff because I always think I have more room than I really do. That's a big adjustment. Another adjustment, like I said, muting is everything on the 6-string. I definitely recommend in my short time that I've been doing the 6-string with this, turn the volume up. I mean, we're used to doing that, we're pissing off our neighbors, but when the volume is up, you're gonna hear that low B rumbling out as you're noodling around playing. I don't know if you could hear it on the recording here, but it's already going. Now it just stopped. So if you turn that up, you'll hear it, and if you turn up your treble, you'll hear it a lot too. And it has that high-end sizzle to it, especially with the Music Man. But it's definitely different than the Stingray, and I like that it's different. Mainly because I don't want to have basses that sound the same. I don't know. It's not my thing. I see people with all the same bass, different colors, and to each their own, but I don't know. Like, I don't make the same artwork more than once, but why would I do it with the bass? But to each their own. It does sound cool. I really like the blend option. And again, with the blend option, I can't get the option of splitting the humbuckers up, where it's just, this single coil and this single coil, or this and this, and I'm fine with that. I already have it on the 5, so if I needed to do it, I could. The amount of tonal possibilities between the shit that just between this bass and the Stingray 5, you would never, talking like a studio setting or especially a studio setting, you would never need another bass. Absolutely not. I could talk about the elephant in the room too, where people shit on this thing. They say it's like the ugliest, best looking bass you could buy. I agree with that. 100%. Someone ruined it for me, so I'll ruin it for everyone else, because why not? They call it the toilet seat bass because this looks like the top of a fucking toilet bowl. What to properly mute? Use your hand. I don't believe in fret wraps either. I still am staying hard on that one. To properly mute, a good start is float your thumb. I play mute on the 6th string. 6th string meaning the low one or the high one? The high one, I just use my hand. It's always going to naturally be there. When I mute, the main ones you're going to want to worry about are down here. You don't have to worry about up here too much, especially when, the B, yeah. So float your thumb. My thumb is always going to be on the B so it can't rumble. And if I'm going up, it's going to be here where it's jammed in between and resting on the B string. And if I go up to the D string, I'll be doing that. And instead of it floating out, I rest my hand down. So a big part of playing on a 6th string is this whole hand position right here. 4, we're always out like this, and we're so used to just kind of creeping this way, like kind of Cousin It from Addams Family. But what I've been doing is putting it down this way. The lower B also bothers me. I just started on a 6th string, but it bothers. And yeah, it's definitely a pain in the ass. You're gonna always have to have your hand, I consider it like a dead fish basically. You just let it ride there. And then if you're playing lower down here, I don't know what kind of music you're playing. If you just got a 6th string, you probably haven't written too much shit using the higher strings. But it's no different than a 5. You're just going to hear it a lot more if you're not doing it properly. So what I do is, like, if you watch when I go up those scales, just this thumb always moves. And we're right here. And I don't worry too much about muting the D string because my fingers are going to pluck it anyway. They rest on it when it comes down. So I have the B, the E covered, the D gets muted every time it's getting hit, and I have the G. Then when I'm going up further from that, that's when I'm floating my thumb further down to the next string and resting it. So it's all the way down here, resting across all 3 of these strings, and again, my finger is hitting the D string on the follow through. Right there, so. Oops. And you can see where my thumb is there. It's right down on the A. So as long as you float it back, that's something I would practice on your own though. But what about when you have to go down to the higher strings? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I go down to the higher strings, I float my thumb down the strings. So watch this thumb right here. You won't have to bring your thumb ever lower than the D string. Right there. As I'm just butchering that. When your thumb, all you have to do is bring your thumb to the D string. You're going to lower these 3. You're going to be playing the G. So, everything's muted. All of it's muted because these 3 are taken care of, and I'm coming down here. If I'm just playing one thing on the high string, on the C, then I'm gonna have to mute everything, but how often are you just playing that without hitting this string? So you don't have to worry about muting all 5 strings and letting just the one ring out. You're gonna mute the strings just by playing. So if you mute these, when you mute these 3, I also kind of will float my pinky if I'm playing just on the high string. Like if I'm doing some classical shit, like, let's see, I'll keep it here, and then it's still new to me, but see, actually I just lifted it off and it rumbled a little bit. Keeping that planted down is all the way there with the elbow too. That's important because if you noticed, and I'm gonna save this will be archived. Thanks, man, no problem. So yeah, if I noticed my elbow came up, so now I know. Keep that thing tight. And it'll make you a better player because it's kind of like singing and playing. You don't have time to hyperfixate on the notes you're playing. They're gonna naturally get good because you're gonna, like, how many times I ever have to fucking think about my elbow until right now? And I know when it's creeping up, it's not a good sign because as that's going, my hand is coming off. So yeah, that's a big part of muting. And again, I'm still learning how to do it. And by learning, I mean, there's a difference between learning and then navigating like your way with it. I talked about it in the last video I put up was a challenge video, some new shit that I'm doing. And I'm gonna do, a long form video of that, what I played before, the 3-octave major. But it's gonna be difficult to show that in a video on how to do that. I'll figure it out. But if I just show you the notes to play, you're only gonna play it in one key and never know how to move it. The main point is knowing when to shift. So 3-1, we'll get into it here. That's one major, the 1 octave. But if you're gonna play it to 2 octave, right here you're gonna have to shift. Up a whole step with your pinky, because now you're in this position. And right there is 2, but if you wanna go up 3 octaves, you're gonna have to shift before you hit that. You're gonna run out of real estate, so you have to kind of play the tape in your head, so. That's the same note, and now you could run up for the 3rd octave. And then don't go up to the higher note, keep going up. Ascend this way. So, and then another shift. They're always a whole step down with your hand. It's so fucking hard to explain this without a private lesson because then I could show you where your hand goes. But each time I'm actually looking at where my index slides up, even though I'm not playing it. So the first shift, I'm sliding up a whole step. So I'm looking at this index finger, and instead of it going from the 2nd fret, it's gonna go to the 4th fret. And I'm just gonna play with my pinky. And everything lines up. Same with going back down. Now my index is gonna go down a whole step. Let's see. Yep. It becomes second nature, but when you're I remember when I was first learning how to do it, it was very awkward. You just have to have faith when you move your index up that your finger will be there, because 4 frets per finger is our typical rule of thumb. And it's always my rule of thumb when you're playing scales, because the scale degrees don't ever fucking change. The ratio between them don't change unless you change them, which I did going ascending this way as opposed to just going north to south. I also call it east to west. You could change those directions however you want. But that's an important part of it too, especially for practicing. And that's the level of practice that I hope everyone gets to or strives to be at, where you're not just reading tabs, you're not just looking at the one, as useful as the one finger trick is that I use that, but then move it around to different parts of the neck. If you're just, it's like if you go, fuck, I can get on a college rant too, but say you go to college and you just study, you're not studying, you're just learning. There's a very big difference between studying and learning. So you just regurgitate whatever you heard, but there's no critical thinking. There's no, how do I make this apply to this scenario or that scenario? That's the kind of learning we want to get to, next level shit. That just becomes fun and better and it makes us progress a lot more. when we're first beginning, that's why this exercise that I have in the homepage, whatever you call it, of the channel, is huge because it gets your hand working so your brain and your hand can communicate. So your brain is second nature with what you're physically doing, and then you're able to really extrapolate some crazier ideas and explore, I mean, an infinite universe of music, between time and functions and all sorts of cool shit. I can get real hippy dippy about it real easy. But yeah, so I think that's all I have on the 6-string. I'm gonna do a review that's digestible for like anybody to watch. Probably gonna be a lot of the same stuff. It is gonna be a lot of the same stuff. But yeah, and also it's a cool color too. Sparkles out. It's hard to see it on the video, but in person it looks pretty dope. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I like the moon shape cutouts on it. Bolt on. What else did I miss? I don't think I missed too much. The thing plays great. It'll play. I'll like it more the better I get. So I better practice. And that's as good of a spot to end this as any. So yeah, thanks for watching. I have to do more lives. I say that every single time. I'm going to shut up about it and just do it. And yeah, we're approaching 3,000 subscribers, which is fucking crazy. We hit 1 really quick, 2 even quicker, and 3 took a while, but I also stopped posting as much, so I get it. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's been along for this ride and also just joining. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Happy Memorial Day weekend. I know this lives in perpetuity, fancy word, evergreen, forever. But yeah, hope everyone has a good, safe weekend. If you're gonna get fucked up, call an Uber. It's not that hard to do. Just, you know, personal experience advice. Love you guys. Have a good one.